welcome each of you back to the Dang Right Podcast with Coach Nally. I'm your host, Coach Nally. Today's guest is the one and only Carlos Chapa. Before we get to Coach Chapa, though, we want to talk about Trevor Van Dam back in the booth, running things, Max and company back there as well, running the podcast and things like that. And then Mr. Kramen and his students for putting on this podcast each week. We're so blessed to have them in our lives and whatnot. First off, Coach Chapa, Trevor's got a very unique last name, Van Dam, and we've asked this a few times on this thus far. Van Dam, Jean-Claude Van Dam.
Mm-hmm.
Do we know him?
We do.
We do.
Bloodsport.
Dang right.
Kickboxer.
Dang right.
Lionheart.
Oh man, we're continuing to go, Trevor.
Who was it that didn't know any? Was it Spence?
Spence didn't know. There was like 3 or 4 guys that didn't know. But, Coach, you can walk into the coaching office and you can say, hey, guys, Jean-Claude Van Dam. And it's like the guys above 40. We hosted that clinic this weekend, okay? And a coach said, hey, to all the offensive coaches, if I said to you, draw a play right now, I guarantee all the 40-year-olds would draw a running play, 40 and ups. All the 40 and or all the 39 and belows would draw a pass play. So it's just kind of the same thing. Like, it's just – it's
a cultural thing.
Yeah, man. How do you not know who Jean-Claude Van Dam is? The helicopter kick and everything. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah. I mean, let's go. Right, man.
It's one of those that, if his movie's on, I'm probably going to watch it. Kind of like
Dang
the Rockies.
Right. Absolutely. Or Roadhouse. Okay, Coach Chapa. First question's always the same, man. Life story. Coach Chapa. Let's hear it.
All right. Pretty simple for me. I'm a South Texas kid. I grew up, I guess for the first 6 years until I was 6, I grew up in Alice. And then my dad got transferred to Graham, that's where I grew up, I guess. I graduated from high school in Graham in 98. I am 44. So
Dang
that
right.
tells you how old I am.
What'd your dad do for a living?
He worked in the oil field.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
And so he did like oil and natural gas and whatnot and check pipelines. And it was always a good time going to work with him in the summer. Mm-hmm. It was different. Always like, you watch out for rattlesnakes and whatnot. I was like, okay.
Dang right.
But once I graduated, I went to Tarleton State, and I loved it there. I mean, I loved it so much that I was there for the better part of a decade.
Yeah.
But I do have 2 degrees from there.
Oh, dang right,
dude. And met my wife there, so it was a good thing. And then I got a job in Tarkington, America.
Yeah. Who's the mascot of Tarkington?
They're the Maroon Longhorns.
Dang right,
it's
Maroon
like an
Longhorn.
Oxymoron. So,
yeah.
But no, I spent 3 years there at Tarkington. I coached junior high football and I did baseball, at the high school. And then I moved to New Caney, and I was there for 13 years.
Wow.
And then once I left New Caney, which was real hard to do, I thought that, anybody who knows me knows that I don't like change, and when we left, it was pretty hard on us, but, we knew that it was that time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went to Granbury for a year, coached middle school football and taught middle school PE.
Yeah, dang right.
And then I came here.
That's awesome.
This is year number 3 for me.
That's awesome.
Loving it.
That's awesome. You got 2 great kids too and a great wife.
Appreciate it.
Okay, so every week we have a new segment. So this segment here is going to be sponsored by Jones Surveying. Jerry Jones Surveying, not the Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, but the Jerry Jones of Jones Surveying in Frankston, Texas, owned and operated by Jerry Jones, who happens to be my father-in-law. All right, Coach Chapa, are you willing to play along in this segment?
Sure, why not?
Okay, here we go. Coach Chapa, have you ever wrecked a bus?
You know the answer.
Okay, the answer is yes. But here's the deal. Coach Chapa, is it true that you fell out of the chair and then the bus wrecked?
True. Okay.
Let's walk through it.
I've got to get through it. So it was my first year here. It was after a JV game, baseball game. So we were parked behind the Z-Plex, and there was cars all parked back there. So I had to maneuver the bus, and I got out of there, unscathed. And I told the kids, I'm a magician on a bus.
Karma got you.
Not more than about 3 minutes later, I dropped the JV kids off, and I was going to move the bus back across the parking lot. And right there by the new fine arts or the cheerleading gym.
Mhm.
I made that turn, and my back wheel clipped the curb, and I bounced. I bounced and I fell onto the landing, and I didn't fall all the way out. Like, I heard rumors where, oh, Coach Chapa, I heard you fell out of the bus and you were on the floor. And like, well, no, no, I was on the floor, but not on the ground. And so, of course, I fell and I'm trying to reach, and short arms, short legs. I'm reaching. I knew that if I could pull the yellow emergency switch, the bus would stop. Well, as I'm pulling and reaching, well, my foot hits the gas, so I go forward. I I hit the light pole, in that freshly sodded patch of grass right there, and yeah, um, I guess. So it was scary, at first, never been anything like that
Yeah,
before,
yeah,
and I'm like, oh crap, what do I do? And I got
yeah.
up, and of course, and I had to I called Coach Stenton, before I went back to the varsity game, and
Mhm.
I can't really say on the air what I said to him, but basically I said, Coach, I messed up. He asked me, what'd you do? And I wrecked the bus, and just quick silence. Of course, he goes, are you okay?
Yeah,
Yes, sir, I'm
yeah,
okay. Were there any kids on the bus? No, there weren't. So he laughed.
yeah.
And then I had to call transportation, and they came out there. And of course, she laughed at me, and she still laughs at me this day. And even when I go pick up a bus for baseball or football, they wear your seatbelt, coach. Make sure you watch them curbs and so on and
Yeah.
whatnot. So it's a joke. They even gave me a trophy,
Yeah, they
with a
yeah,
part of the
they did,
bus,
yeah.
and I display that proudly on my shelf. They with the little bitty monito, the foam bust. They cut off the front edge of it and colored it. It's all good. I did it to myself, and so I can't. No, it's just that
Yeah,
story gets around. Even
yeah.
got around to East Texas to Carthage. Our buddy's the transportation director there, and he put a picture of me with my seatbelt on, and then he stuck it on the wall, and I said, "Don't be this guy." So, Coach Hall, if you're listening, appreciate you, brother.
Well, I mean, coach, I mean, you drive a bus for so long. I've had 2 wrecks in a bus. I was driving a route in Cayuga, and it was a morning route, and I hit a stump. I was having to drive into someone's yard, and the grass grew so high, and I ran over a stump.
Yeah,
And then the same thing, I was driving a route, and I hit the you weren't supposed to, but I was like, "Screw it, I'm gonna do it because I can clear it, 100% I can clear
mm,
it." And, it was one of those things that has the name of the ranch
yeah.
that goes across, and I hit that sucker bill and just took it out. So, it is what it is, but, all right, so let's talk real quick about baseball, okay? So, let's talk about Carlos Chapa as the baseball player. So, let's hear about your baseball experience as a player as a kid.
I wasn't like the best athlete. I mean, look at me, but I enjoy playing. I played second base, and I had a decent arm and played a little bit of outfield later in high school. But I always wanted to go play college ball, but it didn't work out, and partly to my fault, and all that is from me and whatnot. But
Well, I've
I
seen a picture of you in high school, man. You looked like you could really play. You looked the part.
I looked the
So,
part,
yeah.
but
What about football?
no,
Yeah.
no. I was a baseball guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Football wasn't my forte growing up. I
Mhm.
played, middle school and whatnot, but I really, um, baseball was my first love.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted to go play, and that's what I wanted to coach. Even in high school, I knew that I wanted to be a coach. I
Mhm.
wanted to be back then. I was like, well, I'm just going to coach. I'm not going to teach, but the real world, you got
Yeah.
to teach.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, that's kind of where I'm at right now. And, I'm lucky that, Drew, is with me
Mhm.
now, and I get to see him grow. And, I get on to him, and my hitting came easy to me.
Mhm.
I don't know why you can't hit, but but you see, I mean, Drew has a plus arm,
Yeah, he does. He does.
and very talented. He has more talent than I have, but I can still hit better than him.
But I'm going to tell you something. So we like I said, we hosted that clinic this weekend, and Coach Dodge talked, and one of the things that he spoke about is his topic was in 38 seasons. What I've learned was his discussion, and one of it was coach son relationship,
Mm,
and he was like just something that I think that for me that has I didn't enjoy my first son. when he
Yeah.
was coming through the program. I did not. I did what everyone told me to do, and perception's a big deal, and you got to keep your son as far away and let other people coach him. Don't tell him good job. Don't do anything
Mm,
because you don't want people in the outside saying you're playing favoritism or whatever the
right.
case may be. You know what Coach Dodd was like, screw that. It's your son. You have the opportunity to do that. So I, very much so challenge you to do that with Drew to
Yeah.
enjoy that process with Drew and whatnot.
It's been hard. I took that job in Granbury. Um, it was I didn't want to coach middle school.
Hmm.
I'd been a varsity coach for so long, high school coach, but the silver lining was Drew was just now starting, athletics.
Hmm.
So I got to coach him in seventh grade football. And then I didn't get to coach him in eighth grade. We were here, and I was up. He was down there at
Hmm.
the middle school, and I was up
Right.
here. But freshman year and sophomore year, I get to coach him in both sports. And,
Yeah.
so many times, in his life, I put our kids ahead of my own
Right.
children,
Right.
and so I want to thank you and Coach Paris and Coach Bobbitt, for allowing me to coach those teams that he was on because, I mean, hell, you don't get this
Right.
time back.
Right.
And,
Right.
as much as I love coaching him and, I'm pretty hard on him and, I chased him around the field after Lovejoy's freshman year, and everybody tried to tell me to to stop. And even my wife said, "Oh, someone's gonna die today." But it's good. It's an experience that I wish that everybody could have that
Yeah.
experience. Who
Yeah.
has a son.
Yeah.
Because you get to live it with them.
Right, right. And it's, that my oldest son, he's graduated now, but I looked this stuff up and whatnot. Like, I mean, I'll just be honest, my oldest son's probably my best friend. And I looked at the stats of, from the time they turn 18, under the time they turn it. So like 0 to 18, you have spent 94% of the time that you'll spend with them.
Right.
18 and on is about 6% that you'll spend with them and I just thought to myself, wow, what an awesome experience that I have
Mhm.
that I get to spend that much time with him. But with my other two boys, Chop, I'm going to enjoy them.
Yeah.
I'm going to do exactly what Coach Dodge says. Everybody else is going to, the noise is going to be out. I'm going to really enjoy the experience that I have. And like I said, I challenge you to do the same. Um, let's talk a little bit about defensive line. Okay. All right. If you had to pick one, would you rather have an elite pass rusher with no motor or a guy with an unlimited motor but no talent?
Mm. Well, I want a guy who can stop the run
Dang right.
first.
Dang
So he's
right.
going to have a high motor.
Dang right.
We can
Dang
get him in the
right.
right spot. Like I always say, you can, if you earn the right to pass rush, if you can win first and second down. So, I mean, if you look at those numbers there, man, 2/3 of the plays is going to be
Right.
a rundown. So I want
Right.
a guy with high motor that,
Right. I'm
you
with
know,
you. I think a high motor is way more important than talent,
right.
you know. All right. You had to pick one of your defensive lineman coach or or a kid on your baseball team to babysit your kids. Who would it be?
To babysit our kids.
Yes.
Both of them?
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No, yeah, both of them. You know what? You know what? Just your little girl.
Oh, man. I don't know. I think Logie.
Mhm.
I think
Mhm.
Logie would be a good one.
Yeah, he would.
He's been around the house and been around the family and whatnot. He's such a caring kid and such
Yeah.
a good kid and has a good heart. And I mean, all the guys that I've coached, I really enjoy them. If I had to pick one, I guess it'd be him.
Mhm. I'm going to say the congressman known as Logan Chow.
The other Logan.
Yes, that kid, like, I would let him come over and, like, do my taxes. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is just, like, the best kid that I've ever been
Yeah.
around, and he talks like, you're like, "Hey, Logan, how's it going?" "I'm doing great, coach.
Oh
All
yeah,
is well." I mean, he is just,
yeah.
such a fun kid to be around, and,
He is.
he's raised right, and,
Absolutely. I jack with him too about his voice, and I said, "Dude, you don't have to try to like one up everybody with
yeah,
your voice." And
yeah,
"Oh, I'm not trying." I'm like, "Oh, it's all right, dude. It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
okay."
dude. Yes,
But it's
yes.
fun to be around. I mean, and luckily with him, I get to coach him baseball and football.
Yeah,
He's one of my
man.
defensive
Yeah.
linemen. So,
And what a great kid too, man.
oh,
What a great,
absolutely.
great, great kid. Um, okay, man. What's your core philosophy of defensive line play, and how do you instill it in your players?
um, I mean, just do your job.
Hmm.
Line up correctly and do what you're asked to do, and it's just the repetition and just hold them accountable.
Right.
If they don't do it, then pull them out, do a couple push-ups, get back in.
Hmm.
Eventually they'll get tired doing push-ups. Eventually, but we've been lucky here that we've had a lot of kids who, they bought in and they're buying in,
Hmm.
and we just got to tell them, and then we tweak a couple things,
Yeah.
but at the end of the day, how our defense runs. If I don't do my job and I try to do your job, and then it's not working out how it all fits together.
Right.
And I tell the kids, before you can do something else, you got to make sure you take care of yourself.
Hmm.
As far as like being prepared and holding each other accountable and just line up and doing, executing.
Right.
At the end of the day.
I thought the quote that you made, and this was about a year ago. It might have been further back than that. I can't remember if it was a year or two ago, but you were like, it's like a puzzle
Hmm.
and everything fits together like a
Hmm.
puzzle. And I thought, man, that is an awesome analogy. And I'm going to take it with me for forever, uh, on how you said, like, the defensive line is this part of the puzzle, the linebackers and the shell and whatnot are this part,
Yeah,
and they all have to fit together to make the puzzle whole.
you're right.
I thought, man, that's pretty
I use
awesome.
that analogy, and then I use like when we're building a fence. If talking about getting on a field, that if one guy gets too far upfield, it's like the fence picket breaking,
Hmm.
and the dog's
Yeah.
going to get out.
Yeah.
So that's how I tell them. We want to have a good solid foundation, a good solid fence. And we all got to be there. And if one person gets out, then that dog's gonna be that running back. He's gonna get out.
Yeah.
He's gonna get
Yeah.
loose. And that's we talk about. I try to be silly with some things and come up with things that the kids enjoy that they'll remember. I
Hmm.
just don't let the dogs out.
All right, man. If you had to compare your defensive line group to a fast food restaurant, which one would it be and why?
Mm.
Yeah, man. Yes.
Uh,
Yes. See, I think you could go back, and since I've been here, there's some that I could think like, this is before your time, but we had, Jacob Blackwell was on there, and to me that group that he had was probably like a Whataburger group. Coach, they were just, real big, and I mean, like Waterburger does it big, and then, when we had Nigel in that group, it was kind of more of an athletic, kind of a Chipotle. I don't know why I think athletic athlete and Chipotle, but a little bit more healthy, a little bit more getting after it, and then this past year,
I had a little bit of everything.
yeah,
I mean, I
yeah.
had the athleticism, I had
Jersey
the
Mike's maybe,
size.
or I don't know. What was a little bit of everything? Wendy's? Do they sell? I guess Subway, Coach. They sell
Subway,
pizza
yeah,
and
I guess it
salads
could
and
be.
whatnot.
You know,
But that was a good
I
group.
like the Waterburger. One, I'm a Waterburger fan,
Dude,
so
dang right,
I
you can't beat
and
Water. Hey,
I wish.
Waterburger's the greatest restaurant ever. The Dang Right podcast just said that. Waterburger, Coach Chapa and Coach
Yes.
Nally, Trevor and company. Waterburger, Waterburger, Waterburger. I'm just saying we could get a gift card in the mail, guys, and it wouldn't hurt
Yeah,
our feelings.
just go find that big dove shoot in the sky.
um, let me ask you this question because I think it's kind of funny. Like people don't understand. Like offense and defensive linemen are really athletic, and
Mhm.
people think, oh, they're just these big guys crashing into each other and blah 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 blah. If one of them could dance really well, who would you think it could be?
O line or D line or both? Or just my guys?
Your guys.
Oh man.
I think Kendall Taylor.
I don't know.
I think Kendall could dance.
Definitely not Was.
No, Moas is not a dancer.
He's not a dancer.
Zoo's not a dancer
Zoo.
either. I see Zoo like dancing like maybe the
Um,
Trump. So
Logan, no. Uh, I guess Kendall would be
yeah, I
by
think Kendall.
default.
Yeah,
It'd
I
be
think Kendall
default.
could. Um, I would really like to see if Annie's got anything or
Hmm.
Brennan's got anything. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
Brenham.
they
Yeah.
just don't. People don't understand. Brenham. People don't understand that those kids are athletes. They're They're not just kids smashing into each other and whatnot with other
No.
kids. They're truly athletes. So
And we put a lot on them.
right,
And it's not like there's you have so many rules. One thing happens, and I got to do this, and if this doesn't happen, I got to do this. They're constantly thinking. We
right,
can't just say down set hut and like you
right.
said, just go smash into
Right.
somebody.
Well, you're playing football right now
Right.
too. Like you're playing football and you gotta roll into it. What about how do you teach defensive linemen to read and react to blocking schemes? Because here's the thing too. I think that people think, oh well, it's about your gap, which it's about your gap,
Yep.
but it's more about how we're going to stay in our gap, or we're going to two gap, or we're going to just run up field in our gap, or whatever the case may be. So because you know as well as I do that if you're running up field, you're doing a guy like me who's an offensive guy a favor. So how do you teach those kids to read and react when it comes to blocking schemes?
Oh man, we just the drills we do are real basic. I know they're mundane, and I call them vitamins.
Hmm.
You take them every day.
Yeah.
And we'll set up the cones and we'll use those lines on the practice field and whatnot. But I think the biggest the teacher is on film is that we tell them, you got to make sure you maintain your gap and you got leverage here and so on and whatnot. And if they get busted in practice, well, we can see it.
Hmm.
The eye in the sky don't lie.
Right.
And that's so we just kind of go back to there. And if we have to go one on ones, we do a lot of pod stuff. 3-man pods, and then sometimes we'll have our one on one time and when everybody loves one on ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, but I think that just repping it out, and the validation on film.
Right. Right.
And I think that when we started the defense back in the spring, wasn't sure about the buy-in. It
Hmm.
was something new.
Right.
And then the proof was in the numbers
Hmm.
after the spring game.
Hmm.
And we were able to stop the run against our high-powered offense.
Hmm.
And so they're like, oh, we can do it right.
Right.
And that's what I told them. I said, if you do your job, everything will take care of itself.
Right. Right.
So that's just kind of like mindset that we're going to continue going forward.
Right. 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 Coach Chapa, I don't know if we've talked about this yet, but Waterburger. I don't know if we said that, but Waterburger
Yeah.
is good. Waterburger's good. Let me ask you this, man. Like as a coach, I think that you coach. I was a head baseball coach for a long time, and I coached baseball forever. But I think baseball, in my personal opinion, besides, well, coach, I don't know if you've ever played golf, but like I'm the worst golfer in the history of golf. Um, but I think hitting a golf ball is really hard. But there's nothing like hitting a
Baseball.
baseball. There's nothing like it. It's the most, in my personal opinion, you have to have the most skill in all the sports to hit a
Right.
baseball. How do you though motivate a kid's going through a slump? Because in high school baseball, you can't go through a slump.
No.
I mean, how do you like
He's
help
got
that kid mentally get through it?
he's got to understand that failure is part of the game.
Hmm.
You look at it as like take a math test. If you only get 3 out of 10, you make a 30, you fail. But if
Hmm.
you get 3 hits out of 10 at bats, and you're hitting 300, that's
Right.
really, really, really good.
Right.
So they got to keep that in mind. They can't lose sight of the fact that it's a sport of failure.
Right.
And I mean, just keep on loving on them, and just whatever. Even with Drew, with my son, I'm always trying to come up with something different. He goes to our coaches and talks to them after practice. And like I'll see something. Why don't you try this? And just trying to find something will stick.
Right. Right.
And it's tough.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
You kind of get in a slump, and are you ever gonna get out of it?
Right.
I think about the movie Summer Catch and the catcher or whatnot. I forgot what his
Hmm.
name was, but he had to get a bunt. Like he laid on a bunt to come out of the slump.
Right.
And sometimes it may take something as simple as that.
Right. 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 It's I was watching Bull Durham yesterday, and right there he's um Nuke comes
Mm,
into the bar at the end and he's telling Crash, I made it to the bigs. And he's talking about, the weeks in it, and if you just get one more dying quail,
mm,
if you get, one more runner, all this stuff,
yeah,
a ground ball with eyes, if you get all those things that, you're in Yankee Stadium. And it makes me think about like a kid, because everyone has dreams, everyone has
right,
aspirations. They want these things to happen in their lives, and obviously it's the work and all these things that go through it, and blah 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 blah. But it's such a mental piece too of
right.
what everyone's going through. So it's just it's a big deal for me. Like when I think about I'm reading this book called The Twin Thieves. It's a good book. Twin Thieves, Waterburger and Twin Thieves by Stephen Jones. He's not related to Jerry Jones, but Stephen Jones, Twin Thieves, and Waterburger.
So we have the Jones family that aren't the Joneses.
Yes, exactly, exactly. My brother-in-law's named Jerry Jones too, which is weird. It's Jerry Jones is my father-in-law. Jerry William Robert Jones is my
Right.
but Stephen Jones, non-related to me or the Joneses, the Twin Thieves. But he's talking about the Twin Thieves are the fear of rejection and the fear of failure. And I think about baseball.
Right.
I just think about baseball when wherever you're at, and that ball comes to you or you're up at the plate. I just think about, man, those two things could get you. So,
It's hard for, like especially a young kid like the kids that we coach that they'll barrel a ball up.
mhm,
When it feels good, you don't even feel it come off the bat, and it goes right to someone.
right,
Like, man, I barreled it up and I didn't get anything out of
right,
this. But how many barrels do you get that are outs that you turn around and you kind of knob one or get one off the end of the back, you cup it, and it kind of squirts through.
right.
It's just, it is all mental, and I think that's one of the hardest things is that, oh, well, I got to hit, but I barreled that one up and I didn't,
Right.
and
Right.
it'll come.
Right. I just think that the mental piece of the game, but like more like the mental piece of life. So like we're getting older, coach, so we're thinking about
Mhm.
things and whatnot. I just think about like I wish I had the same mindset I have now when I was 25, 18, 14, and that is that positive mindset that everything's going to work out. Whereas
Right.
sometimes you're like, you know, why is this happening to me? Or like you said, well, I'm hitting it, but I'm hitting it to someone. You know what I'm saying? And like that old adage of, man, I hope I don't drop it. You know what I
Right.
mean? And that mindset of having, I'm going to hit it. I'm going to
Right.
catch it. Everything's going to be okay and fine and whatnot. But I think the mental aspect and the mental piece of it is a big deal too. And we take that for granted sometimes,
Right.
but I think you can do that with life as well. But
No doubt.
um, okay, so let's talk about Coach Chapa. How did you? Because I mean, you outkicked your coverage. Let's be real. Okay, let's be real. All right. How did you meet your wife? And let's be honest, how did you? Have you kept her this far, this long?
We met in class.
Really, what
Yep.
class?
It was games and activities. It was a games and activities class. We were partnered up, I guess, with a group, I guess, and whatnot. And we just kind of hit it off and
Yeah,
started dating. And
yeah,
say, I guess, 20 years later or whatnot, and
yeah.
married, I don't know how many years,
Mm.
still together.
That's something you don't need to,
It's okay.
need to say on the air,
We're
man.
talking about this weekend, and she even goes, like 20 years. I think it's 17 or 18. I think 18. I think 18 on June 16th.
That'll.
But
That's
hey,
awesome.
it's all
That's
right.
awesome. That's
I think
awesome.
she'll appreciate that I at least got the date right. But see, and this is how I keep her. I smile and I'm just silly, and I'm one of a kind. No, but Amanda, she's absolutely awesome.
Yeah, man, what
She's
a great coach's wife. What a
oh
great
coach.
player's mom. And then, what a great teacher. My son has your wife as
Yeah,
a teacher. And, I told you this a couple
yeah,
weeks ago. He was like, hey, Miss Chop is my favorite. She's awesome to be
yeah.
around and makes learning fun.
Right,
And when you can relate to kids and make things fun, then you're really doing something. You
right.
know what I'm saying?
And she's
So,
she's very good. Like she's awesome what she does. Great teacher. We joke, me and Todd joke with her, call her super teach, because she really is. She's a
yeah,
super teacher,
yeah,
and takes a lot of pride in that.
right.
And she's way better than I am. But she used to coach as well.
Mm. Oh,
So
really?
she coached for 10 years.
Are you serious? What'd
Mm,
she coach?
she coached basketball and track.
I had
I
no
think she did
idea.
a season or two of volleyball, early in her career. But once we had Caitlin, she wanted to spend more time with her, which
Get it?
like I said earlier, I dedicated so much of my time to other
Right,
people's kids,
right,
and she didn't want to do that. She didn't
right,
want to lose that with the baby, and so she gets it. I mean,
right,
she gets the hours, and she doesn't always like it.
right,
And then she goes, "I know you're just sitting up there just talking." No, I'm working. I may be working and talking, but
Yeah.
she's been amazing. An amazing wife and a mother and coach's wife. Teacher and just a friend, a person.
Mhm.
I mean, she is an awesome woman.
Well, the people don't really, we talk about it all the time and whatnot, but people don't really truly grasp the concept that potentially the most important people in the world on the planet is a coach's wife, because they don't understand, like, yeah, you're married. Yes, you have kids, but you're spending so much time away from your husband, and your husband, like you said already, is spending so much time with somebody else's kids
Right.
and not your own. And that person is there raising
Yeah.
your kids, my kids, and we are helping others raise their kids, you know?
In essence, she's a single mom from July until December.
Right, right.
And when the kids, it's not so much now because Drew plays for us.
Hmm.
So I see him a lot. But when we're at New Caney and she was, and the kids were little, like if she didn't bring them to the games on Friday nights,
Right,
I wouldn't see them on from Thursday until probably Sunday night, maybe Monday morning,
right, right,
because of the work schedule, the sub varsity games and the varsity games, and then film the next on Saturdays and Sundays. And, so I can't thank her enough for letting me be dad still,
right, right. And
and
letting
just holding
you,
down the
yeah,
fort.
and letting you go and try to chase your aspirations, your dreams, but also helping other people
Right.
raise their kids as well. So, but with that being said, thank you so much for visiting with us this week on the Dang Right podcast. I want to thank Coach Chapa, my man Trevor Van Dam, Max and company, Mr. Kramen, and all the students that put this podcast together. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you next week on the Dang Right podcast.